It's 8 p.m. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, tonight I'm here with
Nathan Kwao.
Coming up, government's contract with Kelny GVG continues to stir controversy as appeal court dismisses the National Communications Authority application for stay of execution.
President Akufo-Addo dissolves the entire board of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited.
Also coming up, angry contractors threaten to lock down several completed government school projects across the country over delayed payments.
And fisherfolk across the country express dismay ahead of a national ban on fishing activities.
The details. Now, President Nana Akufo-Addo has directed that the board of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited be dissolved. Now, in a letter cited by Citi Newsroom and signed by the Energy Minister, Boakye Jako, the necessary steps, it said, ought to be taken to dissolve the board in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act and the company's regulations. It is unclear the reason for the dismissal, but they have been directed to hand over all documents and items in their possession to the company secretary. So we'll stay with this story and go to the phone lines and speak to Nana Damwa. He's a PRO of the Energy Ministry to give us more details on this particular story, why the president decided to dissolve the board and what happens to the current CEO, that is Francis Essiem. Good evening, Nana, if you can hear me. Hello, good evening, Nana. We're trying to raise Nana on the line, but the president, as it is, or as we have it, has ordered that the board of the Ghana Gas Cylinder Company be dissolved. They've been asked to tender in anything that belongs to the company, back to the company, etc. We are not sure whether Francis Essiem will follow suit, because the controversy over this story had to do with the board as well as the CEO of the company. I'm afraid we're not able to pick up or get Nana Damwa on the line. We'll try and raise him as we go along. So Nathan, this story is quite an interesting one, because, you know, the workers protested against the board initially when they announced that Francis Essiem must be made to go. And this latest development shows that, you know, an investigation also was conducted.
I remember that. You never know how this is going to play out. You know, if you had Nana Damwa on the line, probably would have given us some better enlightenment on what exactly the next step will be. I think about this and I start to think about the cylinder circulation thing. What would this mean? Because it's a policy that the government wants to roll out, but now that the board has been dissolved, we expect to see new people in place. What will happen to that policy? What's the timeline? So it leaves us with a few more questions than answers. And hopefully when we get, or if and when we get a response from government, we'll have a better idea of where to go from here.
Yes, indeed. We'll be trying to raise. We had also scheduled to speak to COPEC as well, who during the impasse made a lot of comments. They had actually said that the board should be dissolved. Yes. They had also said that Francis Essiem should be made to step aside so that all parties involved will be clear of this issue, so that we have an independent investigation into that matter. So we would also pick their reaction. So COPEC is on the line now. Nathan, you can take it from there.
Hi, we have Duncan Amo on the line. Hello, good evening, Mr. Amo, if you can hear me.
So let's return to Nana Damwa, who earlier we're trying to raise the line. I'm told we've gotten through to him. So Nana, if you can hear me, first of all, what led to the president's decision to dissolve the board? I'm afraid we're still having challenges with that. We're still trying to work the line to get them. This is an interesting story, because, like you said, it will have an impact greatly on the cylinder circulation thing. So we're all interested on how this will pan out in the end. There were a lot of allegations over contracts and etc. But I think we'll leave it there and move on to other stories. Yes, and then our next story, we are going to the courts, where the Court of Appeal has upheld an interlocutory injunction placed by the High Court on a contract between the National Communications Authority and private company Kelny GVG.
The court took the decision after it dismissed an application of a stay of execution filed by the lawyers of the NCA.
So we'll be joined in the studio by our court correspondent, Fred Tete Jabano, to answer some of the questions why the court has decided to do this. And we'll be bringing you that after this break. Don't go away.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avle takes the news further. He will bring the right guest, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
What one action have you taken? What one statement have you issued?
Well, we've been issuing statements, even this...
on the specific issue of...
This very one.
Of no-bed syndrome. Since you are saying that you've had this before.
Well, we keep talking.
The Point of View with Bernard Avle, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Now, the Court of Appeal has upheld an interlocutory injunction placed by the High Court on a contract between the National Communications Authority and a private company, Kelny GVG. Now, the court took the decision after it dismissed an application of a stay of execution filed by the lawyers of the National Communications Authority. Let's try to understand this case better. And I've been joined in the studio by our court correspondent, Fred Tete Jabano. Fred, what is this case about?
So, Vivian, this case started somewhere in April 2015, where the NCA cancelled their contract they had with Suba Info Solutions over the monitoring of revenues by the telecos. After April 2015, in February 2016, in December rather, in 2016, Suba went to court challenging the decision of the NCA to terminate their contract with them. According to them, the termination of the contract was wrong and unfair. As part of their pleas to the court, they asked the court that the court places an injunction on the NCA from going ahead to go into another contract with Kelny GVG, which was also supposed to perform the same function they were performing before the termination of the contract. After this, there was a back and forth, and in February this year, the High Court took a decision and placed an injunction on every activity between the NCA and Kelny GVG. The NCA were not happy with this particular decision, so decided to go and seek for a review at the Court of Appeal. At the Court of Appeal, they also asked for a stay of execution, meaning that they wanted the High Court's decision to be put on hold till the substantive case at the Court of Appeal is dealt with.
Right.
But today, the court decided to deal with the application for the stay of execution. The court was made up of 3 justices, and these 3 justices said that dismissed this particular application by the NCA. According to them, the NCA were not able to give any good reasons as to why they should stop the decision of the High Court from going on.
Now, there's been a lot of cases around this Kelny GVG and the Communications Ministry, etc. How does this particular case play with the other cases we've seen come up for the 2 citizens who wanted to see what the details of the contract were in other cases? How does this one play?
So, if you remember, just about a day ago, the court gave a decision to asking that the Ministry of Communication, NCA, provide the documents and the details of the contract they had with Kelny GVG to the applicant. There's also another case which will be heard tomorrow, where another group of people are asking for an injunction on the same contract. This particular one, having to do with Suba and Kelny GVG, is different. Suba had a contract with Kelny GVG and wanted the court to stop the NCA from giving the same contract to Kelny GVG. So that's the difference between that of Suba and the 2 other private citizens. So going on or going forward, what's going to happen is that the NCA is supposed to put on hold every other thing they have to do with Kelni GVG till the case is dealt with.
All right. Thank you very much, Fred Tete Jabado. He's our court correspondent. You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. When we come back, we'll take you to the contractors who are threatening to lock up buildings that they put up because government has failed to pay them their arrears. Don't go away.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guest, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
What one action have you taken? What one statement have you issued?
Well, we've been issuing statements, even this...
on the specific issue of...
This very one.
Of no-bed syndrome. Since you are saying that you've heard this before.
Well, we keep talking.
The Point of View with Bernard Avle, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
Hi, welcome back. You're still watching the Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao, and let's get to some contractors. The Association of Conscientious Public Sector Contractors has registered its disappointment over government's failure to pay certificates due them for the completion of school buildings since 2016. Members of the association say they will lock up all such school buildings if they are not paid within the next 2 weeks. Niama Ama has more in the following report.
School buildings constructed by the Ghana Education Trust Fund will be forcefully shut down after 2 weeks if the government fails to pay certificates due contractors since 2016. Members of the Association of Conscientious Public Sector Contractors were charged up as they lamented how the situation had placed a financial strain on their families and rendered their businesses bankrupt. These frustrated contractors say they have been left with no other option but to lock up their school buildings because several visits to voice their concerns to the authorities of the GET Fund have proven futile.
Some of us have, myself, I'll give you an example. If you go to Sechiri also, the Home Economics Board was built by me from beginning to end. No money has been handed over, no payment. If you go to the DSU in the Western region, the same thing. Go to Volta in Tajevu, they've not paid. Go to Joje, they've not paid. You understand? We've done a lot of jobs and we've not been paid.
Addressing the press today, Chairman of the association, Bernard Azuma, threatened a series of actions if they are not reimbursed within the next 2 weeks.
If our passionate appeal goes unheeded within 2 weeks, beginning from 5th of July 2018 to the 19th of July 2018, there is no clear-cut step taken to pay us, we will hit the streets with massive demonstration. Simultaneously, we will advise our lawyers to proceed to court. In addition, our members will visit their project sites and lock up all the facilities.
He also accused the government, among other things, of selective payment.
We find it hard to believe that our president, who has been touted as the foremost human rights activist of the nation, will condone such clandestine and selective payment of Ghanaian contractors based on political party affiliations. This nauseating preferential treatment of some contractors can only be placed at the door of GET Fund Secretariat and none other.
Reporting for Citi News, Ni Ama Ama.
Now, the Parliamentary Joint Committee, tasked by the Speaker to come up with recommendations on the no-bed syndrome, wants to be given more time to complete the duty they have been assigned to. Now, the 2-week ultimatum given to them by the Speaker has already elapsed. Now, Citi News' Duke Mensa Opoku has more in the following report.
When Speaker Professor Michael Quay handed the Joint Committee on Health and Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs the mandate to come up with far-reaching solutions to the no-bed syndrome, the committee went to work with speed and dispatch. But some weeks down the line, the work seems to have hit a snag and they are calling for more time. Why is the committee asking for more time? Here is the chairman of the Parliament's Health Committee, Dr. Kwabnachu Muyama, speaking to Citi News.
Just as the Speaker referred the issue to us, we started the investigation. We realized that the Ministry of Health has also begun a similar exercise. So it involved virtually the same agencies and individuals that we were also going to interrogate or interview. So the decision we arrived at with the Ministry was that we will allow them to finish their investigation so that we can review what they did and then try to expand it if the need arises before we report back to the Speaker. They are supposed to finish their investigation on the 6th of July. So we have communicated with the Speaker through our leadership that we needed an extension as a result of that situation, which has been granted to us. So we are expecting them to finish this by the 6th of July, and then the committee, that is the Joint Committee, will immediately, resume our activities and then invite the other people that want to invite and see what the ministry did so that we can finish the Speaker in Parliament with the comprehensive report, which will go a long way to improve, or if not to eliminate this menace once and for all in the country.
The Brekum West MP further shared his opinions on the not fit for purpose ambulance that were bought under the Mahama administration, currently rotting away.
What we know is that there were challenges with the contract, and because of that, the ministry has taken the matter up with the Yoko to investigate to make sure Ghanaians are not shortchanged as far as the deal is concerned. So I'm sure it's because of the latest issues that brought these issues up, but we haven't had any confirmation from the ministry about this new development that they were going to convert the vehicles to trotro, because we need ambulances and not trotro, if you ask me. So we have to make sure we get the right ambulances to serve our people.
For Citi News, this is Duke Mensa Opoku.
An upcoming ban on all fishing activities along the country's coast has fisherfolk in these areas troubled over how they would earn a living. The ban, effective from August, emanates from the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development in their bid to curb illegal fishing and also to allow the dwindling fishing population or fish population to grow. Now, the fisherfolk argue that the challenges within the fishing industry are enormous and a ban will have a toll on their lives. Now, Citi News' Philip Nilate has been to Jamestown and Choco and has come through with this report.
Fishermen in recent times have complained about the decline in catch, despite spending long hours on the sea. The usual August bumper catch is no more. To check this problem, the government has announced a 1-month ban on fishing, but the fishermen are opposed to this move. Fishermen in Choco and Jamestown, 2 fishing communities in the Greater Accra region, tell Citi TV the ban will gravely affect them.
Wo impapati an de for me ni e for me e wo me school ke wo me school no ke egbe wo ya
ke ga yan me ya 40 years ni ina ko 2000 no nka ko mbi ke ni mami ke no fia no ka ngana ka ga nka ba nshona ni ta she mi ni ya je en to ke shi ma ya tutu alo ma ya ju ona ni mo nya ju ma ju e woni so mi nu ju ho ma fi ala ni ya yo ni o ka ka ngasi na omo ba yemi anu kwale sani
kabano kra aga ga won ya ho ba po na One ya wombapo every day. One ya wombapo one ana. Come on, touch 1 month. She know that no watch one. On a first I woo. Like a quarter be ne ula. Like a quarter be ne school. First I woo like a few only be. Be an echo or ya work on your fellow by your column. One on your page, one punch of a lelling. The government a year one leco. Now you get you on Shofina 1 month. Bele China be stroller say Renet be petrol say Nakan Legine Etiamena yawo. What to the legend won't get Etiamena yawo. Kon won one actually few yawo.
Effective next month, you no more see activities like these again because the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development has imposed a 1-month ban on all fishing activities along the country's coast. This is to protect aquatic organism resources. But the Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Francis Atu-Kujo, has announced that the ministry is working on securing resources to cushion Ghanaian fisherfolk for the period they will not be working.
What we are working at is ensuring that within every fishing community, 368 fishing communities that we have, some kind of support and assistance is sent to these communities to cushion them. The ministry is still soliciting for support and raising capital.
Now, almost 200 cases of pre-mixed food diversions were cited by the National Petroleum Authority in January last year. Now, following that revelation, the Ministry of Energy in May ordered the Fisheries Ministry to probe the companies alleged to be complicit in the fuel diversion. Now, as of November last year, per Citi Newsroom's checks, companies cited for the diversion of fuel were still operating with no confirmed investigations. Now, let me run you by some of the statistics we have. Now, for the month of January, for example, for last year, there were 12 diversions. If you look at February, we had 4 diversions. In April, 22 diversions. In May, 27 diversions. In June, we saw 20 diversions. In July, 34 diversions. August reported 48 diversions, and September 82 diversions. Now, if you fast forward to this year, this morning, the Deputy Minister for Fisheries, that is Francis Atu-Kujo, said that those diversions were actually not diversions as were being reported last year, but actually the OMCs were rerouting. But we'll stay with the story and speak to our reporter who last year was following this developing story closely, Richard Sky, to give us more insight into the story and also his reactions on what the minister just said this morning. Richard, welcome to the Citi Newsroom. You followed this story last year. What were some of the key revelations you saw last year on this story?
Well, I think this was simply a classic case of people doing their own thing. In other words, people were basically rerouting for whatever purpose. They were diverting, so they lift the oil from the Tema oil refinery, given specific instructions that take this particular consignment to the Volta region. What you have is that they do not take the consignment to the Volta region. You see some of these consignments elsewhere. So you have some of them being sold here in the Greater Accra region, some being sold in the Western region, some being sold in the Central region. Now, the very coordinated nature of this particular diversion was said that it created panic within the National Petroleum Authority, and they issued specific letters to the ministry responsible for fisheries, asking them to explain the basis for the diversions they were seeing. The explanation that the Ministry of Fisheries sought to, give for the diversions was that in some cases, these were cases of rerouting. But the investigations as done by the NPA established that they were not exactly rerouting. They were actually diverting and putting the money in private pockets. So eventually, when the ministry responsible for fisheries decided that it was not going to act on the concerns of the NPA, the NPA decided that they were writing to the ministry responsible for energy on the particular matter we're talking about. And eventually, the ministry had to write to the ministry responsible for fisheries, asking them to act on the concerns as raised by the NPA. But till date, we did not see any action. Now, it was a classic case of corruption from everything that we read about this particular story. It was a matter that was repeatedly raised on the Citi Breakfast Show, we produced evidence to back the concerns that had been raised that people were diverting the oil stock for purposes of lining their pockets. And specific names had been given. And better, what do you call it? Vivian, let me take you to a press statement that the respective ministries jointly issued on this particular matter. Now, that statement is titled Joint Statement by Ministries of Energy and Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, National Petroleum Authority and the National Premix Field Committee on the diversion of premix field by some oil marketing companies, landing beach committees and transporters in Ghana. And it says that this particular statement is dated the 30th of November 2017, and it says that the Ministries of Energy and Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, National Petroleum Authority and the National Premix Field Committee wish to inform the general public that we have been following with keen interest various media reports on the issue of the diversion of premix field. Now, we wish to note that the preliminary checks have revealed that the perpetrators are made up of some oil marketing companies, landing beach committees and transporters. Now, the perpetrators, after landing the premix fuel from Tema Oil Refinery, do not deliver the products to the desired destinations. So it is particularly disturbing that you have a deputy minister responsible for that sector now coming to claim that, you know, their findings have revealed that these were not necessarily diversions, but these were cases of rerouting. I reject the submission as made by the deputy minister, because the facts, as we have repeatedly established on the Citi Breakfast Show and in the Citi Newsroom, suggest that these were criminal cases, or at best allegations of same, which the government failed to deal with. And, you know, concerns have been raised by the likes of Senyo Hoshi's groups, who have raised concerns about the fact that these were cases of corruption which needed to be dealt with. So it is particularly disturbing that a deputy minister will come and make that claim. Mind you, we had been told that the minister responsible for the sector recruited a relation of hers to the position responsible for managing this particular, distribution of premix fuel. And although concerns got to the presidency for an action to be taken, as we speak, the minister is still at post, the deputy minister is still at post, the folks who were managing the process are still at post, despite evidence of alleged corruption within the management of the scheme.
So are you disappointed with how this thing has panned out in the end?
Clearly, I mean, if a government says that it is in a hurry about dealing with all kinds of problems with our economy, and one of those problems is the area of corruption, and Citi FM brought evidence of, alleged corruption within the sector, we were expecting a full-blown government investigation into the matter, especially as a government agency, the NPA, produced evidence on the record to back their conclusions that we had seen evidence of corruption in the management of premix fuel. Mind you, this is a critical resource that fisher folk need in order to go onto the seas, in order to go onto the rivers inland, to get the catch that we need for purposes of satisfying our protein needs. Now, we have seen consistently in some cases the fisher folk coming out to complain that they were not getting the premix fuel. Right. Meanwhile, the Ghanaian taxpayer continues to pay for some of these things, because, of course, these things are hugely subsidized. So if you have a government that claims that it is interested in protecting the public purse, yet when evidence of wrongdoing is put before the government and we see very little done or nothing at all to deal with the problem, then we have cause to raise concerns.
Richard Elaskai, thank you so very much. You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Local. We'll bring you more stories when we come back. Don't go.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you. 30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happened, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
Come international media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who's played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. prompt on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Nathan Kwao. Let's get to Ajin Kotoku, and residents of that area in the Ghana West Municipal Assembly have appealed to government to open a decade-old market. The market, which was put up 10 years ago, was built at a cost of 170 million cedis to house hawkers and traders in the area and has never been used and is now a home to squatters and rodents. Citi Newsroom visited the market recently and we came through with this report.
This is Agbogloshi in Accra, one of Ghana's major yam markets. From above, it is seen as built on a huge refuse dump. But Alhaji Boga, one of the sellers here, says this is where Ghana feeds.
Ahana, the whole Ghana will be editi. And Yafaska for Hano be a Janka Hano no Muditi. Osha Street Nusa, Casine Jinano, Ahan or Muninapa. Because the market is not as say.
The congestion, stench, and frequent fire outbreaks in the past made the market unsafe, forcing government to explore other options. 11 years ago, the Kufuor administration built the Ajin Kotoku market in the Ghana West municipality, some 25 kilometers away from Accra. The idea was for the market to serve as a bulk breaking market complex where big haulage trucks carting foodstuff from the hinterlands of Ghana would offload. But a visit to the over 170 million cedi facility shows the taxpayers' money has been wasted. 95 shops with 2 sheds adjacent, hospital facility, a fire service post, intended to solve the problems of Accra's congestion, but these remain largely unused, if used at all. Number of the shops here remain closed. One of them, which is open, has an inscription, "Stop raping here." Evidence of what possibly has been happening. In there, nothing to show that it has ever been occupied. Ghana's tax cedi wasting away. The multi-million cedi facility envisaged by the government to be a boisterous business center looks as dead as a cemetery.
It's a very serious headache on all of us, and we have tried severally to seek answers from duty bearers, but it has not been able to yield any proper resource to that effect.
A worried assembly member for Kotoku, Henry Marbell, tells Citi News revenue from the abandoned market could have built 6-unit classroom blocks annually. Ajin Kotoku falls under the Ghana West municipality. And although these structures were built a decade before he took office, Municipal Chief Executive Clement Neilante Wilkinson assures plans are in the offing to commission the project.
We have created some places there, and we have talked to the community. We have a community meeting, stakeholders meeting, which we have agreed on something.
But residents who have heard more failed promises than actual development say promises like this one from the MCE are as old as the abandoned market itself.
We are waiting on the government. If this market is opened, we all will be happy. It's been 2 years since they told us it will be commissioned, but it wasn't. Last year in December, they told us same, but we haven't seen anything yet.
From the abandoned 170 million cedi market at Ajin Kotoku in the Ghana West municipality, this is a report for the Citi Newsroom.
Now, agitated residents of 4 towns in the eastern region have demonstrated against the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, accusing her of unlawfully leasing out their lands to an estate agent. Now, the group demonstrated earlier today to register and press home their demands. There's more in the Citi Newsroom report.
The residents claim the lands were acquired by the SMC military regime in 1977 for purposes of pineapple farming, but were transferred to Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings under questionable circumstances. Subsequently, the leader of the National Democratic Party allegedly leased out the lands to Koan's estate. Nana Mwako Ampong, the Dwantoahene of Adoagiri, is the leader of the demonstrators, and he says they want their lands back.
President
The MCE, Isaac Kojo-Boabeng, who received the petition, called for calm and pleaded with the demonstrators to allow the laws of the country to work.
Situations solving like this, if you want to do a dialogue,
Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, Ernest Owusu-Bempah, has denied the allegations of the residents, saying Mrs. Rawlings is not the owner of the said plots of land.
That those lands that you're talking about doesn't belong to Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. It belongs to the 31st December Women's Movement, which she is a president. It's not her personal property. And people should establish that fact. They have a constitutional body, and that movement has a group that handles those things. So it's not Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings' property. We should establish that. Number two, those lands that they are talking about, as far as I'm aware or I'm concerned, they've taken it to court on several occasions. If my memory serves me right, they've gone to court for 5 times and they've lost the case. The 31st December Women's Movement won those cases in terms of land litigations and land problems in those in some areas. So I don't know their problem. If they have any problem, they can resort to the court of law for an appeal. But resorting to unnecessary demonstrations will not solve the problem. And I think that those politicians who are behind these people doing that, it is not inuring to anybody's benefit in this country, because it has been to court 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times and they've lost the case.
Now, the Food and Drugs Authority has expressed concern about a phenomenon involving glutathione, a skin bleaching pill that has become very popular amongst pregnant women.
Now, according to the FDA, some pregnant women believe that the intake of the pill increases their chances of giving birth to light-skinned babies. Now, I hope that this is leading to an increased abuse of the pill in the country. Citi Newsroom's Anne Shelley Ziwu has more in this report.
Bleaching is not new in Ghana. It used to be a practice among the uneducated ones, but now it has taken a different twist. Ghanaian women and men, even the educated, have now resorted to using anything, even pills and injections, just to get lighter. Veronica Latte was introduced to the skin bleaching injection by a friend. She is aware of the effects, but does not seem bothered.
Even painkiller has side effects. But when your head is really aching, you need to take it to reduce the pain. Quick action, right? After getting the quick action, whatever you have to get behind it, you're getting it. Okay? This one too is quick action to get rid of my trouble. And I got rid of it and I'm gone. So I don't see what is wrong with that.
Professor Edmond Dele is a dermatologist, and he warns that the consequences can be dire.
There are a lot of things that you have to know. If you take them, the side effects will be there. You briefly, it is not only your skin alone which is going to be affected, but because the skin is the largest organ in the body, and then it's exposed, and then it has some very viable blood vessels. They can be absorbed and they will spread into your system.
It is estimated that as many as 50 to 60% of adult Ghanaian women have at one time or the other bleached or used creams with a view to bleaching or bleached unknowingly. About 30% are currently bleaching. For men, it is estimated that 5% have bleached before or are still in the process. The Food and Drugs Authority says it is concerned that now pregnant women especially have resorted to using glutathione, which they believe will make their unborn babies fairer. Delis Mimi Dakon is the Chief Executive Officer of the FDA.
There are confirmed reports that some pregnant women are even using these products with the erroneous belief that it will lighten the skin of their unborn babies. After preliminary investigation, the FDA has noted that glutathione is one of such products that has found its way onto the Ghanaian market and is currently being abused.
She has warned that vendors found selling products that do not contain the right dosage of glutathione will be arrested and made to face the law to serve as a deterrent to others.
Us as general public should not patronize it, and that if we see anybody offering it for sale, people would face the rigors of the law because they are not registered. We found peddlers, so we're trying to get to the source of it, how they come in. So we're trying to use them to be able to find out who actually brings them in and that. We haven't actually found the suppliers, the actual suppliers. We only found people who are selling it. Trying to find who actually brings them in quantities. We're also aware that sometimes they buy them off the internet and things like that, so we have to do a lot of investigation to see.
Reporting for Citi News, and Shelley Ziwu.
Nathan, this is serious. Pregnant women taking pills, popping pills to ensure that their kids become fair.
It's mind-blowing. When I first read the story, I couldn't believe it. And I thought this was, something that was just being thrown about. But it turns out it is true. It looks like many women are putting themselves in harm's way just to make their children fair. I really wonder what it is. I really, really wonder what it is. Maybe we need to understand why they are doing this, if there is a benefit to getting your children to be light-skinned. I don't know.
Yeah, I always say that it's difficult to be fair because the sun, you need to make sure. I mean, I wish I was very dark, actually. But that's what it is.
Anyway, still to come on the Citi Newsroom, we visit Oblogo, where residents live in constant fear of contracting diseases due to the presence of a massive refuse dump. We'll be right back.
Every Thursday night on Citi TV, you're welcome to join women from different backgrounds and opinions as they weigh in on your relationship issues. Watch Sister Sister as the ladies get real with issues about love, marriage, betrayal, sex, dating, trust, finances, and more.
Sometimes some of the guys are like, oh no, they want to wait before they get married.
So there are little
questions. Oh, I'm saying, hold on, lady. What if she does all the kiss and all of that?
And still nothing.
That's it.
If he really wants you like that.
You see, so it's like, oh.
Join Jessica and her sisters for Citi TV's all-women talk show, Sister Sister, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Also, live on 97.3 Citi FM.
You're in tune to the Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Stoneboy says so. Keep it locked. Don't log off.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
And that is the reason I was making the point to him that I refrained from responding to this Joyce Bauer statement. Because if some citizens have accused President Mahama of diverting a certain amount of money, deal with that, deny him, and move on with your life.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you. 30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happens, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
International media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who has played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. prompt on Citi TV. Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guest, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
What one action have you taken? What one statement have you issued?
Well, we've been issuing statements, even this...
on the specific issue of...
This very one.
Of no bed syndrome. Since you are saying that you've heard this before.
Well, we keep talking.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet. Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Nathan Carl. This evening I'm here with
Vivian Kai Loco.
Let's get to Oblogo, where residents in that part of Accra, which is in the Wejadbari constituency, are concerned about a possible outbreak of cholera and other diseases in the community due to the presence of a massive dump site.
Now, the residents lament that for over a year now, rubbish collected from Weja and its environs are being dumped at the site. Now, Citi Newsroom, Nashika Caesar was in the area and has come through with this report.
Inside Oblogo, a community located at the Wejagbawi constituency of the Greater Accra region, is a massive rubbish dump that has become the bane of the people. Residents of the community complain about a persistent battle with malaria and cholera, the result of this unregulated ground. On a visit to the dump, the workers were very hostile to my crew and me, threatening to physically assault us if we dared take pictures or videos of the place. I initially did not understand their hostility, but residents whom I later spoke to explained to me that the landfill was their gold mine. Hence, they would attack anyone they felt was a threat to their livelihood.
Yeah, Omuji once the send no bola ni kese any price a omobeji sell so ekotokwa any omobeji be 5 cedi.
How much do they charge you like a van like this? How much are you charging?
30 Ghana.
30 Ghana. And how many are you? How many drivers go there each
We are more than million.
Offer
no kwaka bibia sesi ya omuji hey I don't know back and ntimi nkasa.
I managed to engage one of the men in a conversation, and he told me that nearly a year ago, the landowner gave away that parcel to be used as a landfill, in an effort to help curb flooding. He said rainwater and water from the Wager Dam used to flood Oblogo, but by filling the place with rubbish and gravel, they have managed to curb the menace. He went on to say that the people were grateful for their presence there. I have with me here the assemblyman of the area, Ni Ayite Blankson, with me, who is going to tell us more.
I brought in media men, the assembly itself, we came in to stop them. And the day, fortunately for me, the day I brought another section of media personnel here, or pressmen here, to take coverage and then see how best we can draw the attention of the authorities to stop this thing here. A section of the residents came out to say it's helping them, it's good. Formally, when they open the dam and the flood, it comes here and then disturb them. But now, as we speak, ever since they started this thing, they've never, experience such flooding again, so it's helping them.
However, I was told an entirely different story when I interacted with the residents. They say the garbage is killing them and they want the dump site removed now. 1,
do we have mosquitoes? It has bringing a lot of flies here too. And 3, the refuse they are bringing, it have spread all over the area. So if they ask them to even clean it, they will not clean it. And they are leaving it to cause a lot of damage to the people here. Sister do hanoti hanme ye aduane na otwetwe nkukoma untimi ntutu wi aberewe na nya sem kito bola ne de haya papa enti aban no pa bibi no nyama ye enye sa ye ma nyina be wu nkato nkwala ne nyina anya kata sese nkwala ne nyina pepia no nwomo mo hwini nyina chonchonchon na ebiri mu bo wane ade ade nya e ma yare enti nwra ne de musira mo wi bibi na mo nyama ye enra ne eku yo mami ensu oto enya easy sense no bon papa na so so mo da so de ba soja for ba ha no be hwom yenim de enti yenim de ekoso underground so so mo de ba once na nko a hwahoma yi so we see nwa na once na ne eguso aye nwa ne mu ina tantata yare ankwala after week 2 weeks bia say de kwala ko hospital. People complain about all those things. You cannot dump a refuse at where people live. You understand me? You see, sometimes you have to think about the people that we live with. Their health is very important.
Nathan, we'll stay with issues of filth and go to the Bono Havo region because a town called Jamdede in the Berekum West District, residents also are living in constant fear there because they are afraid they'll be infected by diseases. This is because of the presence of an abandoned refuse site located at the heart of the community. Citi Newsroom's Michael Sapo has more.
Jamdede is located in the newly created Berekum West District of the Bono region with a population of about 10,000. Majority of the inhabitants are farmers. A major problem facing the community is sanitation. 2 refuse dams in the middle of the community keeps increasing in height. The residents are worried there could be a possible outbreak of a communicable disease if the refuse is not cleared. Some of them spoke to Citi Newsroom.
This refuse dam is creating a lot of problem for members of this area because if you see the way the thing is doing, it can be more. If this situation is here and we go and vote for a leader, I don't think that is good for us, and it's creating a lot of problems for us. So we are pleading to highest body or highest authority to come to our aid and help us.
You see the buildings over here, those living here, look at the scent as we are standing here. The scent, the way it's blowing is very bad. The robbers, when the wind is blowing during the rainy season, now we are in rainy season, when the wind is blowing, you see, it goes through their houses.
Na se mba amanye ne ehunu nyankopon kura ne hwe nipa so ayerete ase ye didi se adidi kura ye didi ya ha nso woni na abeyende na yesro ho ye di nyankopon ye pa ho ache ho modern hu metum maye therefore nsro ho ate.
Dominic Opong is the assembly member for the area. He lamented the newly created district has no district chief executive, Therefore, it is unclear who to report the situation to.
Right now, we are in the rainy season. Outbreak of communicable diseases. It is going to happen if not by the intervention of God. So we are pleading so that we will be able to evacuate these refuse dumps that we have.
What comes to stories? Nathan, filth everywhere, and it's also, you saw a couple of houses around the refuse dump. You wonder, cholera, typhoid, all that.
Yes, and it's about to rain, or the rainy season has just kicked in, so the conditions will be viable for, you know, these diseases. And look at the fact that, you know, the contamination it could have in terms of food, you know, the diseases we could have, challenges with hospitals. It's just really sad. And the president's plan of making Accra the cleanest city, when you look at that plan and you look at the things that, you know, the field that's engulfing the city and the country, it's a huge task, and I think there's a lot of work that must be done if we want to rid this country of filth and make it very clean.
Yes, indeed. But let's move on to some other stories. And the Deputy Minority Leader, James Aveji, is predicting a further decline in the value of the cedi following its recent free fall against the dollar. Now, according to him, the value of Ghana's currency may stand at 5 cedis, 20 pesos to the dollar by December this year. He attributes this to what he calls the poor management of the economy by the Akufo-Addo administration. Now, speaking to Citi News, James Aveji indicated that the rapid depreciation of the cedi has exposed bad economic fundamentals of the country under the Nana Bawumia government.
The fundamentals of the economy is still weak. That is why the cedi is depreciating. We thought that he would have arrested the cedi. For that matter, the value of the cedi will not fall, but rather increase. But this is what we are seeing. Now, even this one, the cedi have depreciated to this over 26%, simply because the whole of last year, the borrowing that they did were done in foreign currency in the dollar terms. If they had borrowed in managing the budgets, you see, every year, the budget that we approve in Parliament will give power to the Minister of Finance to manage the budget by borrowing.
Let's get to the High Court now, and that court has ordered the Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, to retrieve and furnish former COCOBOD CEO Dr. Stephen Kwabena with some documents from the Economic and Organized Crimes Office and other state agencies needed for his defense. The judge, Justice Clemens Honyenuga, gave the order after he was notified of the failure of the state to hand over some documents to the accused persons, claiming they were not available at the AG's office. Dr. Stephen Opuni and two others, Seydou Agongo and Agriculture Ghana Limited, are facing criminal trial for allegedly causing financial loss to the state. The case has been adjourned to July 9. Let's do some other stories. And the junior high school students' engagement for the Citi Literacy Challenge continued today, and a team from the station will once again take students through processes on how to enter the competition. After all 3 stages of the competitions are completed, the winner takes home a cash prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis, while the second and third place winners walk away with 5,000 and 3,000 Ghana cedis respectively. Mastina Lee Yankee is head of events at Citi FM, and she tells Citi News the schools the team will be visiting this week, and she gives more information on what exactly will be happening in the schools.
We've just engaged with the JHS students. We've encouraged them to participate in the Literacy Challenge 2018, and they're excited. We're expecting that a lot more students all over Ghana will participate in this challenge. Now,
and that's it for tonight's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Visit citinewsroom.com for more stories. Business, entertainment, general news, politics, what have you. My name is Vivian Kai Loko.
My name is Nathan Kwa.
Thank you so much for watching us. Good night.